Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Remember to like and subscribe for fewer vampires next time you play. Maybe. Today we're talking about Trevor Belmont, and we're doing it because, boy, if there is a video that needs to be fixed, it's that one. Not because I think it's a bad build or even an inaccurate build for one Trevor Belmont. The problem is I used an Unearthed Arcana that was pretty much already confirmed to be dead by the time that video was going up. Specifically the Monster Hunter variety of fighter. It's kind of a bad subclass. It's a pretty weak subclass. And yeah, I can see why they didn't put it to print. So we need to come up with another way to build Trevor in 5e using stuff that officially ended up getting published. And that's not actually all that hard, you would think. The issue we're running into here is that Trevor is a mad lad. That's multi-ability dependent, or at least he is the way I want to build him today. But don't you fear, I'm a professional. I know how to get mad. Getting mad, you really just have to focus on your multi-classing minimums, the scores you need in order to multi-class your class if you want your class to have multiple classes. And we certainly do. If you're watching this video, you probably like Trevor Belmont, and you might like Magic the Gathering. Well, I have a channel called Tulok the Barbrarian, and there I am taking some of my favorite episodes of Building Character and hypothesizing what those cards could look like in Magic the Gathering. Just hypothesizing. I am not making proxies or telling anyone to make proxies. I don't own the characters and I don't own Magic the Gathering. You can't sue legally. Parody law. It's parody? I think that's how parody works. You declare it and you are legally immune. Today we're going to mix Ranger and Paladin, which are very mad classes. One requires dexterity and wisdom. The other requires charisma and strength. Basically, the only things we don't need are constitution and intelligence, but everybody needs constitution. That's how you don't die. We can dump intelligence, though. In the original video, I gave Trevor quite a bit of intelligence because I thought, well, he is a Belmont and they're very knowledgeable about various monsters. But then I patched up his strength using athletics, saying, well, if we have the athletics skill, that will make him strong enough. Today we're doing the other way. He'll just have a pretty decent strength score and athletics, and we'll patch up his knowledge with skills and proficiencies, because he is brave of heart, but dumb of ass. I usually don't swear in these. Asses in PG movies, that's fine. That's a PG swear. I think that's fine. Dexterity number 1, we're going to be using finesse weapons, and that'll help our AC, so that'll be a 15, a nice cool 15. Then I think wisdom, that'll be best for passive perception. It's the skill you can get the most out of the remaining ones. Charisma at 13. I dumped this last time because I said Trevor didn't play well with others, and he doesn't play well with others, but he is a Riz Lord. I mean, he's good at shacking up, shall we say, keeping it PG. Strength is at 12, which is not a multi-classing minimum, but it can be a multi-classing minimum since Trevor's a human, so you can bump that up to 13 with the variant human +1 to 2 different stats. The other one, round up your dexterity because it's really good to have a lot of dexterity. That's the one we're going to use to attack vampires. And Constitution's down at 10, which isn't great. But if we just grab the tough feat, you get 2 HP every time you level up, and it's basically like we have 14 Constitution, except we're still bad at drinking poison. Don't get poisoned. Duh. So we'll kick it off as a Ranger, letting us pick 3 skills from the Ranger list. We'll go for Athletics, Perception, and Survival. We'll be using the new Ranger that's actually good at stuff, and we'll take Acrobatics as the free skill from being a human, then Religion and Arcana as our background skills, and that's the whole Trevor suite. That's all we need. Because we're going to be using the good Ranger, we get expertise in a skill of our choice. You can put that in one of your intelligence skills if you like, or in acrobatics if you don't want to get grabbed. Getting grabbed by Dracula is sort of a game over scenario, so don't get grabbed. Pro tip, don't let Dracula grab you. Then we'll move down the ranger list for about 4 levels. The first level, gets you that expertise, and then the second level gets you ranger spells like Hunter's Mark, which is the one you want. If you're using a whip, that is a D4 weapon, and a D4 is about as small as a dice can get before it becomes a coin. So Hunter's Mark will turn that into a D4 plus a D6, and that's kind of a D10 almost. Actually, better at getting the middle numbers. You won't as often get the high end of the numbers, but you also won't as often get the low ends of the numbers. Lowest you can get is 2. Think about that. Level 3, you get to choose a conclave, and we're going to go for the, what's it called? We're going to go into Monster Slayer. That will let you assess enemies' vulnerabilities like sunlight. That goes, again, into knowing what to hit the monsters with, because you're a Belmont, and you read all those Belmont books, even if it doesn't seem like you know how to read. You also get Slayer's Prey, which lets you add a d6 of damage to one target creature you choose on your first time hitting it each round. Again, that will round up the damage of the kind of crappy whip. The damage is crappy. Having an extra 5 feet of reach is pretty sick. And it's pretty sick when we jump over to Paladin, because in Paladin, we'll be able to get Divine Smites at level 2, letting us spend a spell slot. Oh, by the way, you have Ranger spell slots that you were previously just using on Hunter's Mark. You will share spell slots betwixt the classes. They're both half-caster classes, so you basically just look at the number of spell slots you would have from either class, if you stuck with that class the whole time. That's how many spell slots you got. Divine Smites add 2d8 radiant damage plus an additional d8 if that creature you are hitting is undead. That's a lot of extra damage, and with the 5 feet of reach, it's pretty great. Once you start adding all of these extra dice, that first d4 isn't as relevant as it would be. Think about it like Balatro, that first +4 mult, that's nothing. But once you've got like 8 other different jokers that are adding 1,000,000 mult, who cares that the first card you played was high card? You're trying to do a high card run? Really? I've done a high card run. It's easier than 2-pair. Anyway, you also get another fighting style. This is where we can go for dueling or defense, depending on which one you took with Ranger. I forgot to mention you get a fighting style with Ranger. Pretend that I said it earlier. Defense gives you +1 AC when you're wearing armor. Any type of armor. Leather armor counts. So wear leather armor and be slightly more defensive. And dueling adds +2 to your damage rolls when you're wielding a weapon one-handed. Whips are light finesse weapons, so you can wield them one-handed, and you can get that extra +2 damage and just have a very solid modifier, which is pretty good. Oh, also, sorry, when you hit Ranger level 4, buff your dexterity, and just buff your dexterity until it's done, and then buff your constitution. You don't need anything else. Just get big, just get strong, and hit things really hard. When we get to choose a subclass for Paladin, I think Vengeance is the way to go. It's the one that's the best at doing violence, so go for that one. We're really just gonna stick it out and ride it out with Paladin, so let's talk about some other Paladin stuff we're going to be getting. Divine Favor is sort of like Hunter's Mark. It adds a d4 to all of your weapon attacks, including your whip attacks, but that is radiant damage, which can be better about getting around enemy defenses if they are resistant to non-magical damage. You also get the magic weapon spell if that's just a big sticking point, and your DM will not give you a magical whip, even though you're like level 8 now. I'm sorry, we're level 8. Give me a +1 whip. We've been playing for 2 years. All I do is whip things. You can't give me a magical whip? Are you kidding? Why is your DM so mean? And then at level 11, you get Super Divine Smites. Basically just putting an extra d8 of radiant damage on all of your attacks, and meaning even if you don't have a spell up, all of your whip attacks will deal 1d4 plus 1d8 radiant damage and really supercharge that whip. So this is a lot different than our first Trevor Belmont, because our first Trevor Belmont was a fighter-monk mix and got magical stuff through Kensei Monk. How can the same character be built with 4 different classes across both builds? Well, because D&D is a flexible game, and it's really less about how the build works and more about how you roleplay it. But I hope that today you will come away with one thing, and one thing only, and that is the knowledge that multi-ability dependent doesn't need to be scary. Multi-classing doesn't need to be scary. Think about the things your character needs. Have a good plan going into starting your character and starting your campaign and where your character wants to go. But also, talk to your DM and tell them this plan. If you're a DM and your player comes to you and says, hey, I would like this to be what my character does. This is how I'm going to level them up. As a DM, I would appreciate that. It would tell me sort of the journey they hope their character can make. That doesn't mean you can't hit them with twists, with turns, with strong, hard narrative choices. But it does mean that you can set up, maybe there is a church somewhere when you know they want to start multiclassing into Paladin. Maybe there's a section where they're going to be stranded in the woods for a while if they wanted to start as a Paladin and jump to Ranger later. Don't do that. Rangers start with an extra skill. It's best to start as Ranger. But overall, just let your DM know where you're planning to go with your character, and hopefully they will be accommodating. I guess every time I talk about something like this and I say talk to your DM, I'm assuming that your DM is a nice, good person and that they want to tell a story with you collaboratively. If you're watching these videos, I hope that as a DM, you will take my advice and be a collaborative storyteller. It is not your job to fight your party. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe for more. We're back to building characters all the time, talking about the role-playing aspects and also the intricate mechanics. Also, a reminder to check out the Tulok the Barbrarian video, where we are building Trevor Belmont as a commander card in Magic the Gathering and see what kind of funky abilities I thought that card might have. Check out Tulok and Mango if you like watching us play video games. We're playing some Hollow Knight right now, and that's also where we're streaming. We started streaming on YouTube over on Tulok and Mango. You can hop in the chat. You can bother me about any video that I've made, and it'll be fine, and we'll just talk about it, and it'll be fun. All right, have a great night.